Welcome back to another Paycheck Budget with Me video. We are going to be budgeting out the third paycheck of January 2022, which happens to be January the 21st. Now I am filming this on the day before, on Thursday the 20th, because I have access to my husband's pay stub. So I like to go on to the budget template and get everything ready. So as soon as the direct deposit hits the account tomorrow, I already know where everything's going to go. Hi everyone, my name is Jackie and we are enjoying life's journey. Welcome to the channel. If you're interested in seeing how I use a zero-based budgeting cash flow method, then stay tuned. We're going to jump on the Excel sheet and get started. So this is my Excel template. You guys have seen this probably in other videos. If you haven't seen it before, this is available for sale on Etsy. The link is down below. But basically, every year I budget out the entire year, and on my template here, you're going to see down here at the bottom 2022. So I budget out every single month, if you will, for the year, and then that auto populates to the correlating month tab at the bottom. So we're in January. So then every month I go and I budget ahead all of the paychecks. So for instance, my husband gets paid every single Friday, so we do a budget every single week. If you get a paycheck, every other week, then you would only use 2 of these columns. If you get, paid once a month, whatever it might be, you'd only put the dates that are relevant for you. I like to call this my paycheck to paycheck budget, because what I'm doing is I'm making sure I tell the money for this paycheck where to go, and that money is supposed to last me until the next paycheck when it comes to food and gas, that type of things. But also within the budget, I'm starting to get ahead on some of the bills a few weeks at a time. And so every time you budget out a paycheck, it gives you a little more control over your spending, over your money, because you see more of your habits and where you're going with it. But the big thing from last week to this week that changed is my husband did get a proper raise. So if you missed it last week, there's a few things going on. One, I did get our health bonus, and that was not, there's no taxes taken out for that, which I was surprised. And then Ricky, my husband, had a random 13 cents extra on his paycheck. So I did have a few comments from some of my viewers. So I wanted to address those comments on today's video because I thought they were a good idea, but I'm also going to address what we found out what the actual thing was. The other thing, when I'm coming onto the weekly budgets, I'm going to change anything from the week before based on what we spent, and I'm going to update future weeks based on things that have changed, right? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to show you, I actually made one change already. So if you notice here, the paycheck for last week shows $1,264.80 versus the $1,044. Well, he had the extra 13 cents. So one of the viewers said, she said, maybe the 13 cents came from the annual COLA adjustment based on inflation. So that's a really cool idea. I've actually, I never heard of that before. However, it pretty much, I guess if you think about it, is kind of like that. So every year, my husband's company, everyone in the company gets a raise. So he was actually due for a $1.30 raise, and he ended up getting 13 cents. So he reached out to his superintendent and was kind of like, did I do something wrong? Why did I only get 13 cents? And he said, oh, it was a typo or it was a mistake. I guess it happened to a few different people. So they're supposed to be fixing that. So if it was supposed to be $1.30, he got 13 cents. He's technically owed $1.17. If you remember, I also mentioned that he had finished a med gas certification I mentioned in a few other past videos. And so he was given a $1 raise for that back in December. Well, his employer, they decided that actually they should have been given $2, not $1, so that he was given one extra $1. So basically what they did was they retro paid him that extra $1 from December. So he ended up getting like another a random $160 check and then another like $55 check. So that's what I added onto here. So this $1,264 was kind of like the retro back pay for the med gas raise. Now he's still waiting for the yearly raise because they're still trying to fix that, but they did give him that extra dollar for med gas. So we're going to change that on the 21st and the 28th here in a minute. Another viewer mentioned, because I mentioned that our health bonus was not taxed any federal tax, which I was surprised because usually we have a big thing. So she mentioned you probably were not taxed on the bonus if you were exempt from federal tax deductions, since I see that his federal tax was 0. So we are not exempt from federal taxes, but that's a great assumption, you know, because obviously you see these zeros. Basically, they changed some of the tax forms, what they call it, the W-4s or whatever we fill out, right, for federal. So he's the only one working right now. So on the form we put that we are that we're married, filing jointly, and that he's the only job, and that we have 2 children. So we have a $4,000 deduction, if you will. So his employer is somehow, whatever they're doing, they're calculating basically that deduction, that child tax credit. That's what we have. So they're kind of offsetting that already for us so that we get less taxes, we get less of a refund, right? We're kind of keeping more of our money now. So usually when he doesn't have overtime, we usually see that where there's not a whole lot of federal taxes being withheld. But when he starts getting a lot of overtime, or usually when he has a bonus, we do see a big chunk of federal taken out. So I was surprised we didn't see that federal. But yeah, that's a great, those are both great tips or great ideas from our viewers. But basically one, yeah, it was supposed to be a proper raise, and the other one was we're not exempt from federal taxes. So I'm still not really sure why they didn't take it out. But that was that. So so what we need to change for the 14th is what we actually spent on groceries. And I'm actually going to open up personal care and household items because we did spend some money on that. So what I did was when I went to the grocery store, I had our shopping list based off of kind of somewhat of a meal plan. And off my meal plan, I shopped the cupboards or my freezer and stuff first at the house so that I could keep my shopping list as minimal as I can. We lowered our grocery budget a little bit this month because Ricky wasn't having any overtime. So I basically said I have $100 to spend at the store. As I'm going through the store, I have my calculator handy, and whatever the price is, I round up to kind of offset or to account for sales tax, right? So if something costs $1.90, I say it costs $2, and I'm adding that up in my calculator as I'm going through my shopping list. Now, as I'm going through the store, I have a few items in mind that are my must-haves. So for this particular week, it was the meat. We needed to make sure my husband had some snacks and enough protein so he wasn't eating out, because we're trying not to eat out as much. And then I had a few items that were kind of like, well, if I don't have the extra money, I don't need to get these. Or I actually had a few items that just weren't stocked at the store. They weren't at the store, so those were okay. So we actually stayed within budget, and I did have to purchase a few other things that were not necessarily food items, but they had to come out of that $100. So what ended up being what? If I scroll over to my account trackings on the side of the template here, under card, this is my Discover It credit card. We use this credit card to make everyday purchases, and a few of our bills actually get charged onto there because we do get cash back, and we're trying to get that cash back. But every week I pay off the balance, so I want to keep track of how much we owe. So when we were at the grocery store, I actually spent $97.95, so I stayed just under that $100. I had to buy cough drops, so I bought 2 bags worth of cough drops. They're about $1.90 something each, so I just said $2 each. So I put on here I spent $4 on personal care. So for us, personal care can be toiletries, medications, over-the-counter type medications, those type of items. And then for household items, I actually had to buy more Ziploc bags. So I got 2 different sizes of Ziploc bags, and then I also got those paper cups for the cupcake pan. So we spent about $7 there. So the grocery portion was actually only $86.95. So that's what I'm going to change on the side here. So we actually had 4 for personal care, 7 for household items, and then $86.95 for food. Okay, So I'm gonna make these orange because this money is technically still in the bank. I haven't made that payment yet. So if you notice at the beginning of the month, I didn't budget anything for personal care and household items. We are not planning on buying anything, or we did a lot of stocking up on things last year. So we're kind of just using up what we have, and then we'll see, you know, how things play out. Okay, the other thing we need to adjust is the gas. So we need to take a look and see how much did we actually spend on gas this past week. So as of right now, there's $45.56 charged onto the Discover card. We have 2 fill-ups, or actually we have 3 fill-ups, I believe, that are not posted yet. So I know one of them was my husband's motorcycle, so that's usually around $7. And I know one was his truck, which is usually around $30. And then another one for the motorcycle around $7. So we're gonna say $89.56. All right, so we know we made our payment last week and we used part of our cash back. We had about $61 worth of cash back, and we just kind of used that towards our gas. So we have $5.86 left of cash back towards gas, and we still have $112.52 in the bank. So we technically have $118 for gas, and we're saying that it's going to be around $89.56. So we have an extra $28.82. So if you notice, we have this extra $20 kind of rolling over from what we had last time. So I'm actually going to subtract that extra out of this 90, and we're going to say that we're actually only using $61.18 out of this paycheck because we had some of that money left over. So if I scroll down to the bottom here, we have $30 extra right now. Okay, so we're gonna come back to that in a minute. So the other thing here, we had $30 for eating out. I moved it to Ricky's money. So the girls and I basically said, we're not eating out. We can manage not doing that. And then Ricky was using it. He kind of eats. It's kind of eating out. It's like random snacks at the gas station. But again, that's why when I went grocery shopping, I wanted to make sure I got him extra snacks, so he wouldn't do that. But he did end up spending some money. Let's see, he has $22.91 left. There's $2.53 still on the card. So technically he has $20.38 left out of that 30. So if I subtract that 30, he only spent $9.62 out of that $30 this week. So high five to him. Right, so basically what we're doing is zero-based budget, right? So now you see here we have $51 out of last week's paycheck that we didn't actually spend. So now we got to tell it where to go so that there's a 0 at the bottom. That doesn't mean all the money is spent and it's gone, right? It could be in savings, it could be invested, it could be used for other things. But it just tells us that we've told it where to go. So right away, I'm going to put that $51.25 up here into part of the mortgage payment. And so I know I'm going to have to take that away from this last paycheck because we'll have it a little sooner. So the last paycheck, we're only going to need $197. So I'm going to delete this out. I'm going to scroll down. It's going to tell me how much it is. So it's $730.32. $730.32. Okay. Then the next thing I have to do is go balance my account. So within this account here, within the necessities, my checking account, I just want to line up my line items so I know what's part of what money, right? So right away I knew that this was actually $86.95. This is 4 and this is 7, right? And we know that this is only $83.70, and this is only $253. Yeah, so what we say, 51, it was 51.25 was towards the mortgage payment, right? So this is where the money is as of right now. And then when I go, if you look on what's owed on the credit card, right? So our cell phone bill came through on the credit card. The money was already in there a month ahead of time. We have the money now to pay off the gas. And then this $63.80 we're actually going to pay in February. And then we do have our Netflix, not Netflix, the Amazon Prime actually was charged the 16th of this month. So that is one bill I'm not a month ahead. So we want to make sure we adjust that out of this week's paycheck, right? So we want to make sure we cover part of that. So we're going to say, was it 1420? So this is actually going to be 1529. So first thing, now let's go ahead and update this week based on the raise from MedGas. We're still waiting for one more yearly raise, but we have the MedGas raise, and then Ricky did have 4 hours of overtime. So we're going to go ahead and change it. So his new pay as of right now is $27.23 per hour. So I'm going to take a look at his pay stub real quick. So this is actually $1089.20, so $1,089.20. So we know next week it will at least be that for sure for the 40 hours. I'm going to make this black because this is the official number now. Red for me means this is a projection, it's not the number yet. And I'm going to open up the overtime because, like I said, he ended up having overtime, 4 hours of overtime. So at time and a half, so basically at $40.85 an hour, $163.40. And I'm going to make that black. And then I'm going to make this orange just because this week is not over yet, so I don't know if they'll work an extra couple hours today or tomorrow or even Saturday. I don't know, but if they did, he would have overtime on the 28th. The next thing we do is we come down to his pay stub and we look at our pay ourselves first. So we have automatically before taxes, his employer is putting 10% into his 401k. 8% of that is for regular 401k and 2% is into his employer options or employer stock, whatever it might be. So I just make sure that this matches up with the pay stub. So 121 and then 2505, those match. So we're gonna make that blue because that tells me at a glance that this is money invested or saved. It's not spent, but we're not gonna see that money in the bank account and see what they withheld for taxes. So federal was 0 again. Now, if I notice, usually every quarter or so, I might go on the IRS website and kind of play with the numbers and see, you know, are we going to end up owing, or, you know, are we still at a good spot? If I feel like things might not look right, then I can always go on and change his taxes with his employer to tell them to withhold more, but we're just going to leave it as is for now. So the Arizona State for us, $13.51. Okay, that one was $16.89 for Medicare, and then $72.22 for Social Security. Now, if you notice, these are less taxes than I anticipated, yet we made more money. So how is that possible? It's because the investments come out before taxes. So once that investment money comes out, then we're taxed on what's left, okay? So the more you can invest now with a tax-deferred retirement account, you're gonna save on taxes now. We will have to pay taxes on that when we take it out at retirement, but our income will be lower. We'll be using less money per year when we're retired because we plan on being 100% debt-free, including the house. So these next ones are just our regular deductions. We have family life insurance, his long-term disability, and our health insurance. So I just double check to make sure that those numbers match up. So now I'm going to scroll down because we might have some extra money we're working with. We have an extra $184.53, okay? The other thing like I'm going to do, I am going to go ahead and move this $30 from eating out. Again, I'm going to move that down to Ricky, and I'm going to do that for the month. And then events. Now we do plan on going to my friend's house this weekend, so we're gonna chip in for pizza and drinks and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put, I will put $30 for events because it's something we're doing. It's not a family thing, it's like with another family. So we're gonna put that as events for this particular week for Saturday. So we'll have that. Okay, so if you see here, we have $233.12 total extra. If you remember at the beginning of the month and last week, we were going to be negative $194 roughly, right? So by Ricky getting 4 hours of overtime and getting that raise, it put us in a position. So now I don't have to stress about what was I going to do? Was I going to pull money out of savings? Was I going to bump some of the bills to the next paycheck? Like, what was I going to do? That's what I could have done. But now I don't have to worry about it. Everything's covered. Now, originally at the beginning of the month, anything extra wise, we were planning on using it towards kind of replacing some of our savings. We spent extra savings for Christmas and a vacation last year from what we originally budgeted. But Ricky and I went through this last weekend and we put together our plan for the garden in the backyard, and we really wanted to make sure we got that enclosure built by the time spring comes around. And it's going to cost us about $425. We did all of our pricing and stuff. So we already agreed that we are going to put the extra overtime money towards that project. So that's what we're going to end up doing with this $233. So first, let's finish out this week. So this $154.53, I'm going to put as part of the mortgage payment. So we want to get that paid up quick. So $663.13. Okay, and so then what we'll need out of the last paycheck, $42.51 out of that paycheck. Now, like I mentioned, these are for February's bills. So we're cutting it close with the mortgage, right? We're going to have all of the mortgage payment by the 28th. It's going to come out automatically on the 1st, so we're cutting it pretty close. But all these other bills are due later in the month, or we already have the money. We already had the money out of that first paycheck. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make those orange, because that's the money we're going to see in the bank account tomorrow. We're going to keep our groceries at 100. We're getting close to dwindling down our extra stuff in the cupboards. So I don't know how much longer I can stay at $100. We'll see. We're going to also keep the gas at 90, because I rather have that money, even though we're spending a little bit less, and see what happens. Ricky is being moved to a job site he used to be at that's a lot closer to our house, because they're finishing up at the job site they're at. So his gas budget should go down. He should be spending less in gas coming shortly. Okay, and then again, we're going to say we have the $30 to chip in at my friend's house, and then Ricky's got his $30, and then we have the money for the Prime bill, for Prime. All right, now we have that $233.12, so we're going to put that up here, home maintenance. So we'll have about half of the project money now. We're just going to try to build that up. So a few things I did before coming on was I went on my bank account and I balanced my accounts on my template over here to make sure everything matched up over here, and then I go on the Discover It credit card and I see what's charged on the card. So I've already done that. Everything matches up. So now I knew where to kind of move some numbers around, and so that looks good. Now what I do is within the income checking account, this is where all of our money is deposited. So when I log on the bank account tomorrow, I need to know how much is supposed to be in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up what we should see in there. So I have $663 towards the mortgage. We'll have $100 towards food. We still have $405 in there for home maintenance. So if we're doing a home maintenance / a big project, we put the project under home maintenance. So this is still part of, we're supposed to be getting our back patio cover done. So we're paying in cash. So I'm just gradually been taking cash out of the ATM. So I took out $400 last week. There was $800 in here. So I still have money in savings though, about $2,400 that I still need to continue to pull out for that project. That project's about $4,600 total. The 90 for gas, 30. So we're gonna have $927.33 coming into the bank. Add the $405.80 we have. So tomorrow, when I log on the bank account, we should have $1,333.13 in the checking account. And if I look up here, my number from my math here matches up. So I've told everything where to go. I have zeros on the bottom of my budget, and everything's planned out for tomorrow. When I log on tomorrow, the stuff that we'll be using for money, so like this $30, part of that we're actually going to be taking about $20 out cash. So I'll give my friend like $20 cash, and then we'll purchase some drinks to bring. And then these will go into the necessities checking account for then when we need to pay the Discover card the following week. The $600 for the mortgage is going to go into savings until the 28th, and we'll pull it back out for the payment to come through. And then I'm going to be taking another $400 out of the ATM for the house project. So that's what will happen tomorrow. Things are looking good because, like I said, we originally started the month, we were going to be negative $194, and I had already cut our grocery budget down. And then I was wondering, well, am I going to have to take money out of savings to feel comfortable? What was I going to have to do? So a few things. One, we're spending a little less than we budgeted, so we're doing really good this month. We're not going over budget, we're actually staying under budget. And then, like I said, those big changes with Ricky's raise and the overtime. Now, like I mentioned, he's still due technically $1.17. So next week we could see another raise on there, and possibly probated raise, because that raise should have been taken effect as of the 3rd of January, and we're on the 20th. So we could see another random check in addition to his paycheck next week. So I don't know for sure. Join me every Friday as we go through our paycheck budget, our weekly budgets, and hopefully these are helping you in some way. Again, you can pick up my template on Etsy. The link is down below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.